I have Sjogren's and arthritis, and I started to look at myself. I had ballooned up to 250 pounds, and I'm watching, I'm taking care of people in the ICU, and I'm connecting the dots, and they kind of look like me. So I'm like, I don't want to be in this situation, and I started to get very inquisitive about what I can do to prevent it. If you have a high elevated A1C, that means that every other place in your body that could store sugar is already full, and there's nowhere else for it to go, and it starts backing up in your bloodstream.
Welcome to the Informed Choice podcast, where natural health meets practical truth. I'm Innie, the Naija Goddess, and this is where we simplify holistic wellness so that you can stop guessing and start healing. Let's dive in. Today, I am thrilled to introduce my friend, registered nurse Abio McCray. For nearly 20 years, Abio has worked at the front lines of kidney health and chronic illness care. He began his career in 2006 as a dialysis technician and then became a registered nurse in 2012, caring for patients with kidney failure both in outpatient and ICU settings. Today, he serves as a home dialysis nurse, training patients to manage life-saving treatments in their own homes. Over the years, Abio has seen kidney failure and chronic illness from every angle, and his research has led him to a powerful conclusion. The two common denominators in almost every chronic disease are inflammation and insulin resistance. His work bridges deep clinical experience with a mission to help people prevent diabetes, hypertension, kidney failure, and other chronic illnesses through knowledge, lifestyle, and informed daily choices. Abio also brings a personal lens, living with arthritis and Sjogren's disease, which further fuels his passion to educate on how inflammation works and how to fight it. He has become a trusted voice in health education, known for breaking down complex science into clear, practical steps that anyone can follow. Please welcome me in joining Abio McCray to Informed Choice. Hi, Abio. Welcome.
Hey, Annie, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Glad you're here. Now, we just gave us a great introduction to you. So just give us an overview of what you do day to day and how you came to be a registered nurse that specializes in dialysis and kidney care.
Well, I'm starting from the beginning. I got out of the Army. Like I said, I did 10 years in the Army, and I needed something to do. So
Something to do.
I was trying to find myself, and I found myself becoming a dialysis technician. I had to be in school in order to get $1,200 a month. So I was highly motivated.
That was your motivation.
Yes. All right. I would do anything not to be in the Army. Yeah. So as I progressed in that field, I started to watch my supervisors, the nurses, and I started to connect the dots. I was like, I can do what they're doing. So rather than, stay as a technician, I aspired to become a nurse.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when that happened, you became a nurse, and then what were your next steps?
I stayed in the same field. I became a supervisor in that environment. So I was more the same job, just moving up in higher responsibility.
Okay. And what type of patient cared?
Patient care, we were actually, as a nurse in the dialysis environment, you're in North Carolina, you're supervising about 10 patients at a time, and you're supervising at least 2 techs.
Okay. And so now you're at home nurse, right?
Mm.
With specialized. So what do you do day to day with your patients?
Well, because of the increase in population of dialysis patients, the government is kind of motivated towards shifting people to try to get them to do this at home, because in the dialysis clinic, there's not enough staff to take care of the patients.
Okay.
And they're starting to get a little bit neglected. So they believe that the quality of care in the patients is better in their home environment.
Okay. So how have you enjoyed doing that? How long have you been doing the at home part?
I looked up that date, and I actually started January 22nd, 2022.
2022. Okay.
Yeah.
So you started mid-COVID or towards the end of COVID.
Right.
Okay. So how has that been?
Well, the reason why I chose that focus is because I'm able to teach and share my passion with people, and get them to become more aware of their environment and what they can do to prevent their illness from getting any worse.
That is awesome. Well, I did prepare some questions for you so you can really teach our viewers and listeners how they can do preventive measures so they don't get to the point where you have to show up in their homes and help them with it's a lot, you do a lot of end stage renal care, right?
End stage.
Well, maybe we could talk about that. What does end stage renal care look like? And so when you're at the stage where you're going to their homes for dialysis, I'm assuming, yes. What does
Well,
that look like? Do they know or tell me?
before they get to the home, they come to the clinic for about anywhere from 4 weeks to 8 weeks, and I educate them and I train them what they need to do. And I don't sign off on their paperwork until they prove to me that they can do it
At home.
at home.
Okay.
And then we go to their home.
So what are they doing at home? When you get to their home, what are the types of things you're doing and what are you educating them on?
Like what we're going to talk about today mainly is diabetes and how they can, although they have end-stage renal disease, their situation can get worse and it can develop into cancer and different things of that nature if they don't make any changes.
So what are the types of changes you recommend or what are you counseling them on? Are they aware that are the patients aware that this is end stage when they're at home?
Well, yeah, they know this is end stage, but like I said, no matter how bad your situation is, it could always get worse.
Right.
You know.
Okay, like I said, I prepared some questions for our listeners and viewers. So, you've worked in dialysis and kidney health for 20 years. What patterns have you seen that made you zero in on inflammation and insulin resistance as the root of so many chronic illnesses?
That's a good question. It was more personal for me. All right. I have Sjogren's and arthritis, and I started to look at myself. I had ballooned up to 250 pounds, and I'm taking care of people in the ICU, and I'm connecting the dots, and they kind of look like me. So I'm like, I don't want to be in this situation, and I started to get very inquisitive about what I can do to prevent it. I had ballooned up to 250 pounds, and I normally function well at around 200. I haven't seen 200 in years. So hopefully you can get me there. But just by tracking my drink intake, I was consuming 1 glass of orange juice, 1 8-ounce soda, 1 Snickers bar, and 1 sweet tea equals to about 125 grams of sugar that I was consuming every day. So it kind of like, oh wow, this is why I'm 250 pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially that orange juice. Whew.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the most common daily habits that quietly fuel inflammation without people even realizing it? I would say stuff like you just
Yeah,
said.
like I just said.
Anything else that might come to mind?
Sugars in everything, we were never meant to.
And everything refined and processed.
Yeah, you know, the bread, uh, another one, another worse than sugar, in my opinion, is high fructose corn syrup.
That's the devil. It's made in the lab. It's not even food.
Yeah, yeah, it's even worse than sugar, but they put it in everything.
Everything
Relish,
processed.
yep, everything processed. Salad dressing, cereal, bread. And the way that it impacts the body is that you get the sweet taste, but you never get satiated, so you keep eating it.
By design, so you
Right.
keep buying it.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. You say insulin resistance can develop silently over 10, 20, 30 years. How does that process unfold and what are the warning signs that people miss?
Like you said, what we talked about earlier. It's I think you said it better than I did. Give me some of your warning signs, and I'll go off of yours. 'Cause I like the way you said it better.
Insulin resistance is one of those things that creeps up. So by the time it's recognized in your blood work with your doctor, you've had it for a long time. So the clear signs that happens when you're in the insulin resistant zone is if you're tired or just have to take a nap 1 to 2 hours after eating a meal. That is a clear sign that if it's a once in a while thing because you just ate something out as an outlier, then that's okay. But if that happens on a regular basis where you kind of get the itis, that's a clear sign of insulin resistance. If you have like dark bands around your neck and the back of your knees, especially if you're of African American descent, that's a clear sign of insulin resistance. If you have skin tags like I used to have all over my body, and these are the last two, That's a clear sign of insulin resistance. If you have dark circles under your eyes, that can be insulin resistance, and also be low iron and low vitamin C. If your hair is brittle and your skin and nails are brittle and you're not able to process metabolize fats and your certain nutrients properly, that's insulin resistance. If it's hard for you to lose weight, particularly around the middle,
That's number one.
um, even though you seemingly are eating healthy and moving your body, but it's very stubborn fat loss, that is insulin resistance as well. Most people focus on it on the heavier side, but you can still be very insulin resistant and look very thin. And that's why, to the untrained eye, just looking at someone on the outside as either fat, normal, or underweight, or normal weight does not mean inside that they're healthy. Because there are so many skinny people that have full-blown diabetes or insulin resistance. Organs are all messed up, but they look thin, and you assume they're healthy, and they're not. Just like a person who might be morbidly, like not morbidly obese, but overweight, can be metabolically healthy, but just need to lose excess body fat. So don't just look on the outside. We have to actually know what's going on the inside.
I like to piggyback off of that. For me, the way I think about it is that there's only certain places in your body where sugar can be stored,
Yeah.
and mainly that's liver, one, muscles, and your fat cells.
That's why non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is like the top disease. Most people who never had a drink in their life have fatty livers.
Yep.
It's
So
there.
as you become insulin resistant, your body tightly regulates your bloodstream. It knows that it's toxic and it has to get out of your bloodstream.
Right.
All right, and so what it does for years and years, it converts that excess sugar into fat, and it doesn't care where it stores it. And once your liver gets filled up, it starts pushing it downstream to your pancreas.
Yes.
And when your pancreas gets overwhelmed with the excess sugar or fat, that's when you become diabetic.
It is, and it stops working.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's awesome. So those are the signs that people tend to miss. What's the danger of focusing only on blood sugar readings or finger pricks without understanding A1C or long-term insulin patterns?
Great point. Most people, you can have a normal blood sugar and a high A1C.
Right.
So most people, for the longest, even though I worked in the medical field, I would check my blood sugar, and it would be in the normal range, and so I was like, oh, I'm good. So I go back and eat and continue to eat, and then once I started paying attention to the A1C and understanding how that works, the A1C is a measurement that measures how your body is handling sugar over 90 days.
Right.
And so A1C, in simple terms, means that there's a high A1C,
What's considered high?
5.9 and higher.
Yeah.
All right. If you have a high elevated A1C, that means that every other place in your body that could store sugar is already full, and there's nowhere else for it to go, and it starts backing up in your bloodstream.
That's right.
And it starts to stick to red blood cells, which impair the function of the red.
And so what's the A1C people should be shooting for?
Below, from my research, below 5.4.
And I would say below 5. But yeah. Yeah, in that rank, you're treading too much into insulin resistance territory in that 5.5 range. But yeah, okay. In your opinion, is insulin resistance more dangerous than just having high blood sugar itself?
For me, they go hand in hand. All right. Insulin resistance, insulin resistance means that there's so much sugar in your body, it's starting to back up. And the way I think about it is, I'm from New York, and during the snowstorms, we put down the salt to melt the snow. And but if you from New York, you know that salt, although it helps get rid of the snow, the salt stays behind and it starts to erode the concrete.
Right.
So and that erosion is basically the foundation of inflammation. And your body detects that, even though we don't, and it starts to repair those potholes inside of our bloodstream with cholesterol.
Right. Right. And that's how heart failure and heart conditions always go hand in hand with these kind of conditions as well. Yep, you're absolutely on the money. Okay. Many people still think hypertension and kidney failure just happen with age. How does inflammation and insulin resistance prove otherwise?
Going back to what I just said, if for me, my definition of inflammation is the irritation or the deterioration of your blood vessels from the inside out. So if that deterioration happens in your brain, that leads to strokes and problems there. If it happens in your heart, it leads to a heart attack. If it happens in your kidney, that leads to kidney failure. If it happens in your liver, that leads to liver failure. So it's all the same thing. It's just where the weakness is in your body.
Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily with age.
No. I've taken care of patients who are teenagers, young adults. I have patients, all ages, But man, what I've come to realize is that I've taken care of patients that, let's say they were 50 years old, and at the same time, they have a child. They live that way all their life, and then they have a child in that state, and that child gets their manifestation of the disease at a younger age because of the same lifestyle. That's a big misnomer that we believe that type 2 diabetes is hereditary, but it's
a lifestyle disease.
Yeah, it's dietary.
That's completely reversible.
Yes.
If you modify your lifestyle, which we'll get into today in the cooking segment. Okay, most people hear A1C at the doctor's office and treat like the gold standard. Why is that a flawed North Star for managing health?
Like you said, everybody has a different genetic makeup, and some people it affects them in different ways. So you don't want to just focus on one thing. You want to look at the big picture, because you can. Most people equate diabetes with being overweight and being obese,
right?
But you can have the complications of diabetes and still be skinny,
right?
So
or normal body weight.
Right.
Yep. That's absolutely right. So then that means you don't want to just look at one metric, you're going to look at all the metrics. So if you have the A1C that's doing a 3-month look back, and you do a finger prick that's looking right now, that can give you a better picture. And you can also use a continuous glucose monitor to see throughout the day your fluctuations, especially overnight when you're actually in a fasted state, what your blood sugar levels are. So depending on where you are in the spectrum with your health, you have those different metrics that you can use to see a fuller picture of how your blood sugar is impacting your health. Would you agree?
Awesome.
Okay. What do post-meal spikes look like, and why are they so risky even if someone's A1C is normal?
And from my experience, that if you just think about food logically, we eat to get energy to work.
Right.
But if you're eating a meal and the first thing you want to do is go to sleep, that's indicated. It's not making sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Okay. How can people bring up these concerns with a healthcare provider without feeling dismissed?
Fortunately, there's a lot of people out there like me as nurses. I'm a champion of the nurse field. We in general are trying to understand the problem and trying to get you to figure out a way to help you fix it without medicine. Whereas
Without medicine, you heard that. There we go. The natural part.
yeah, from my experience, doctors they don't have they have the to deal with so many people. They don't have time to go in depth with anyone's situation, and they are also financially in bed with the people who are prescribing the different medications. So they have a motivation not to take too much time.
Are you talking about kickbacks from pharmaceutical
Right,
companies?
yes.
So you actually see that in your daily.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they'll bring up that salt is bad, and don't do salt, but they never bring up stop eating the candy or drinking the sodas or juice and different things. That never comes up.
I think I might get on a tiny soapbox here because that's like one of my pet peeves when doctors say no salt. Salt is the electrical currency for your body, and you need sodium, right?
Absolutely.
And sodium works in balances. Everything nothing works in isolation in the body. So sodium and potassium go hand in hand. So the recommendation is 4 times as much potassium as you intake sodium. And I would say even upwards of 10 times as much and on the natural side. So not necessarily reducing your sodium intake, but increasing your potassium intake. So I see so many, especially older people, that start to have the jitteries and all that because they're trying to do this whole no sodium, low sodium diet and not eating enough potassium, or they're taking potassium pills, which are it's unnatural, synthetic, and they've demonized salt. They've sugar. Our body runs on glucose, but you have to do it in a healthy way that's natural from the earth, that's not refined, right? And the other parts they leave out is a reason why a lot of the sugar can't get into the cells because it's coated in fat. Most Americans are eating too much saturated fat. So when the cells are coated in fat, the sugar can't get inside to do what it needs to do so that the energy can release, and so it backs up. So if you're eating excess amount of meat or dairy products or things that are very, very high in fat, saturated fats, that's going to cause that problem as well. So it's not merely stop eating salt, stop eating sugar, and you should be mindful of your. You want to eat a plant forward diet. My saying, I never advocate for someone to have to be vegan. You can still consume animal products and be healthy, because I would be a liar if I said that you couldn't be. But you want to be mindful of the amount of saturated fat that you're taking in. That you need saturated fat so your body can produce cholesterol so you can have your hormones in balance. But you want to be mindful that you're not eating that in excess so that your cells aren't coated with so much fat where the sugar can't even get in. So all three things need to be addressed. But again, most practitioners, they're never trained in more than 12 hours of nutrition in their whole 12 years of doctor education. So they don't know. So you have to go to people like us that can tell you what to do with your personal journey to get you where you need to be.
I totally agree with everything you just said. When you go to any hospital environment, what's the first thing that they hook you up to?
Well, first when you walk past, you see a Chick-fil-A in there,
No, well, I'm
you see a
saying like
machine, and then when you get to the room, they hook you up to a saline machine. You get a IV infusion,
how
right?
much salt is in that bag?
I forgot.
9,000
That's
milligrams.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
For each there's there's 100 milliliters. Well, no, not 100. There's 1,000 milliliters in one bag.
Right. And
So for every 100 milliliters, there's 900 milligrams of sodium.
I forgot about that. Absolutely right, because you need it. When you're dehydrated and you drink these electrolyte drinks, it has sodium in it. We need sodium. That is the electrical fuel for our bodies, because our bodies are electric and they need sodium. Sodium's like the battery charge when they keep telling you that, so stop doing it. It's like a big pet peeve I have, that people just say, "Oh, I can't have any salt. I can't have any salt." But then they're dumping all this other crap that has still sodium and refined sugar and hydrogenated oils in the food, so it's super unhealthy, but they think because they're not having the salt because their doctor said it, that they're being healthy, and they're not.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, off my rant and soapbox now, temporarily. Fatigue, neuropathy, and hidden spikes can feel vague or invisible. How do you help patients connect the dots between their symptoms and blood sugar?
Oh, neuropathy. That's basically my visual for neuropathy is basically that cord that we have right there. That cord is covering a nerve.
Yes.
All right, and inflammation is the erosion of that cord, and the neuropathy is the nerve is being exposed outside of a normal range, and that's where you start to feel the numbness and tingling and all the different sensations.
It's true. And I will point out, from a naturopathic perspective, inflammation is your body working for you so that your
Absolutely.
immune cells know where to go to fight. So if you don't have, that's why when you get a cold or you get a fever, your cells know where to go. Like, oh, that's where the problem is. So it's saying, hey, there's a problem here. So what you want to do is start to address the root cause of what's causing that. That's the things we talked about today in this episode. So that way you don't even have the inflammation to begin with. So it doesn't have any erosion or any other detrimental impacts on your health.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, how do you coach people to become advocates for themselves in this healthcare system within the United States?
Yes. Well, whenever I talk to my patients, I always talk to them from the perspective that if I was them, this is what I would do. And being that I'm educated in this, I know what the doctor's looking for, and I know the questions that they should be asking, and the things that will get a doctor's attention.
Can you give us a rundown or example of what that looks like? Use me as your patient.
Okay. um, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you had kidney failure.
Okay. So
All right.
end stage kidney failure or
This is a big one. This is a big one. All right. Okay. I won't go that deep because that's very controversial.
okay.
All right. From my experience, The number one drug that gets dispersed in any medical environment is protonics.
Yes.
All right, and that's acid reducer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, basic foundation. I have GERD.
Mm-hmm.
Had it for a long time. All right.
What is GERD for those listening?
Basically, you have the stomach, the muscle on top of your stomach is not working, so you have heartburn, chronic heartburn.
The sphincter muscle doesn't close fully, and so the acids go back up, right?
It splashes up into your throat. All right. Dealt with that for over 5 years. Had surgery behind that. All right. Tried everything underneath the sun.
Okay.
Nothing worked. All right. I found a video online and it started talking about how apple cider vinegar reverses that. So, but going back to the protonics, you eat food and your body's natural reaction to help you digest the food is to produce acid.
Correct, to break down the food so you can absorb those minerals.
So why would you reduce the acid?
Exactly.
Right. So that's a big one that I stand on. And since I found that out, I take apple cider vinegar almost every day, twice a day. All right. And the reason why apple cider vinegar works is because the older you get, the acid that your body produces is not as strong. All right. So you eat stuff that your body can't break down, and your body
Eat stuff like what, Abio?
meat, all the different things that you say that are bad, and your body's not strong enough to break that food down, and you get the heartburn and starts splashing up in your throat, and you will do anything to deal with the symptoms.
Yeah, that's a terrible symptom to feel. And just to clarify, I don't like to demonize food, right? So, when you're I always give the analogy, when you're 18 years old, especially an 18-year-old boy, he can eat 3, 4, 5 steaks, no problem. Then when he's 55, trying to do the same thing,
Can't do it.
he's having a major problem, right? Because the digestive fire is not as fiery. So it's still an acidic environment, but instead of being like a 1 or 2, you might be a 3 or 4 on the pH scale. So when you're eating things that are harder for the human body to digest, such as the meats in particular, it's going to take a lot more of that digestive fire to break it down. So one, you want to make sure you're thoroughly masticating your food, making sure you're chewing your food until it's a liquid before you swallow, right? The food's not going anywhere, it's already on your plate. So slow down, chew it thoroughly, right? Making sure that you're not drinking with your meals, because when you do that, especially as you age and your digestive fire not being so strong, then you're diluting those digestive enzymes that is being produced by the stomach to help break down those foods. And why we need that fire in your stomach is so that your body can actually absorb, when it goes through the small intestine, absorb the nutrients and use those enzymes so that we can actually get the nutrients from the food. So when you're swallowing hunks of food, you're drinking, especially like a Sprite or some kind of sugary beverage with it, and you're diluting your digestive enzymes, and you're eating things that you really shouldn't be eating or are not the most optimal for your health, then you're gonna have a hard time day over day, month over month, year over year, with digesting your food, and you're gonna attribute it to age, and it's actually your lifestyle of how you're doing things from meal to meal, from bite to bite.
Absolutely. The top all that off, in simple terms for me, when you take the apple cider vinegar, it works in 2 ways.
Yes.
It helps your body break down the food faster, and it makes that muscle work, which
Because it is a muscle.
right, and it makes that muscle close so that I can eat things that I thought I couldn't eat, but I don't recommend it, but I can even eat and lay down without having heartburn.
You shouldn't, but yeah, you can when it's working properly.
right.
Yeah, you can. And when you're eating foods that are fiber rich, it's called peristalsis. That is the muscle that has to be used so that stuff can keep moving throughout the digestive tract. So when you're eating a low fiber diet, so say you're eating like a high meat diet, whether that is carnivore or whatever, um, those muscles can already weaken even more, and then you can have those kind of problems as well. So you want to make sure that you're eating enough fiber every day. And so each meal should have at least 12 to 15 grams of fiber. So if you're doing that, you're gonna have a good digestive flow. You shouldn't run into these types of problems.
Yeah. So, look, I'm thinking about your original question. That's a perfect example of why I go out of my way to talk to people to help them in that situation. Another big one is insulin.
Hmm. Tell the people.
You know, like what we said before, when you become diabetic, that means every place in your body is filled with sugar already. All right. So
And we're referring to type 2 diabetes.
yeah,
That's
type 2
fine.
only.
Yeah.
All right. So initially they give you a pill. Well, let me just skip over it. The insulin injection. All right. That the way that insulin injection works, it forces the sugar in your bloodstream out of your bloodstream, and it forces it into those areas that are already full. So it's kind of it's making it's making the blood sugar better, but it's making your overall condition worse.
Absolutely. Can you explain that further for the person at home who may not understand that?
Well, like I said, it's already full, and they're putting even more stress on your body in the liver with the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease or visceral fat.
Visceral fat, yes.
Yeah, that's where basically
Visceral fat is the fat around the organs, and that's the fat.
and in the organs.
And in the organs, that's the most dangerous. Subcutaneous fat is the kind of, if you're going to have fat like this, whoever has subcutaneous fat, because you can get rid of that, but the visceral fat is the one that really impedes your health.
Yeah, it could be skinny fat.
Yeah, that's how you can be skinny fat. So you look slim, but there's a lot of fat around your organs. Yeah, absolutely. It helps that you recommend how to be an advocate, or what about the patient? How do you translate to the patient and the doctor? Like, what does that look like for you day to day?
Most of the time I'm biting my tongue,
Why?
and then when you know, when the doctor comes out, leaves the room, you know, I have to walk that tightrope, but I also take my time to go the extra miles and say, well, hey, you might want to take this in consideration in your situation, and it always winds up coming back to how much sugar you taking.
So you're saying you bite your tongue with the doctor around, because the doctor's gonna come out. They're gonna make their prescribe. They're gonna prescribe what they're gonna prescribe, whether it's for a kickback or not, whether it's in the patient's best interest or not. And then you'll come back and give the patient more information so they can make an informed choice.
Absolutely,
It's always about informed choice.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, Avio, I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your depth of experience with us today. I think it's been very insightful and helpful for the listeners and viewers, and I'm grateful. I'd like to take some of the knowledge that we discussed today and translate that over to a meal that people can actually do at home. And they can also capture some of these elements from my book here, Nourished by Naija, Flexible Food Prep That Fits Your Life and Feeds Your Health. So today's meal is going to be a very glycemic friendly uh, diabetes friendly meal that you can prep either for the week, or you can just make on a weeknight like I did tonight. The main dish, we're going to do a braised barbecue tofu that's made from fava beans. And our sides will be braised cabbage, and sorghum will be our whole grain.
Amazing. Let's
Okay,
do it.
let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
Okay, welcome to our cooking segment. We are doing the braised cabbage and barbecue tofu with sorghum as our base. So I'm going to kind of highlight the ingredients. The braised cabbage and the sorghum are in the Nourished by Niger book, and you can see it displayed here. I have Abio here, be my frosty sous chef and taster today. So some stuff's already been in progress, so you don't have to wait for all that. Cause again, you can just get it in the book. The sorghum is already prepared. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just cooked in water, in a broth, and that'll just be our whole grain. Sorghum is like a fantastic super house of nutrition. It is originally from Africa. The northeastern part of Africa is like native to like modern day Sudan today. It grows really well in tropical and subtropical climates. It's also very prolific in Asia now. It's like one of the oldest ancient grains, like over 4,000 years old. I love the grain because not only is it because of nutrition powerhouse, it has lots of iron, phosphorus, manganese, magnesium. It's just great for that, B vitamins. But it doesn't have any lectins because it doesn't have a hull. Um, just like millet. So if you have any gastrointestinal issues or anything like Crohn's disease or anything like that, it's a really good grain that you can take because you won't have to worry about that. You don't have to necessarily soak these overnight. So it's just really good. You can cook it to al dente, or you can cook it past al dente. It has a chewiness, and why I like it for food prep is because it retains its shape and texture days later in the refrigerator. It doesn't get mushy. You know, if you cook it al dente, 3, 4 days later, it'll still be al dente. So it's really high in protein too, for especially for a grain. A half cup is 11 grams of protein. So sorghum, and switch this camera. So this is sorghum. This is what it looks like. The other great thing about sorghum is that you can pop it like popcorn, and you don't have to worry about the little things get stuck in your teeth because there's no holes. So you can flavor however you want. You can do it sweet or savory. You can just do it like with just a little bit of olive oil and a pinch of salt, and it's really, you can just do it right here on your stove top. It does take a little bit of practice because it can burn, but yeah, it's something you should really consider adding to your pantry. Also with sorghum, if you go, where do you get it? In the grocery store. Okay. People walk right past all the things that your grocery store has because you're used to grabbing white rice or maybe brown rice. All right. And now maybe even quinoa, right? But it's right beside it. And you'll see sorghum and you'll see amaranth and you'll see teff and then you'll see, sorghum. So it's right there in your regular grocery stores. You can also Instacart it. You can also get it on Amazon. So it's something you should consider to expand your palate because people think they eat so much variety of foods. And I gotta say to most people that come to my cooking class, no, you just had teriyaki chicken, then you had lemon pepper chicken, then you had hot honey chicken, but it was also chicken, right? That's not variety. You want to expand what you're eating because your gut microbiome needs that diversity.
Right.
And the other thing that's so great about sorghum is that it's rich in prebiotic fiber. So those probiotics have the food source to eat from to actually make sure you're having a healthy gut microbiome. So this is a very nutritious grain. It's low on the glycemic index, very low on the glycemic index. So it's great for diabetics who want consumer grains. So you would swap it out for white rice and just use it for that. And you can cook it to whatever texture you like, and you can season it however you want. So however you season your rice or your couscous or your quinoa, season it the same way. I did nothing special today. I just cooked it in a broth. That's it, because it is not the star of the show today. Star of the show today is our fava bean tofu. And I couldn't remember my friend here was had a soy allergy or not, so I opted for the soy-free tofu. And this is what it looks like, the soy-free tofu. And it's 4 servings in one pack, and each serving is 16 grams of protein. And when I eat this, I can eat the whole pack myself actually, but if I'm trying to be conservative, I'll eat half a pack, and that's 32 grams of protein. And again, it's made from fava beans. This is also in every single grocery store. It's in the tofu section. The tofu section, if you've never bought it before, is in your produce section. So wherever you find miso paste or egg roll wraps or um, dairy-free cheeses and stuff like that, it's going to be in that section, in the produce section of your grocery store. So it's something to consider. And when you're cooking tofu, you don't have to press it. What I like to do in general is to boil it. And so since this book is about food prep, you take however many blocks of tofu that you're going to do for the week, cut it up in whatever shapes you like, and just boil it for like 10 minutes in salted water, and then put it in the refrigerator. So when you're ready to cook for that night, it's already ready to go. All you have to do is season the way you like it for that particular dish. So for today, we're going to do this garlic roasted barbecue sauce that I made that's low glycemic. So I used a little bit of agave and date syrup to sweeten the barbecue sauce. So this is perfect for diabetics. But you can use whatever one you like. So if you like, what's it called? Sweet Billy Ray's, or what's it called? Whatever it's called. If that's what you like, use it. If you want to use your own, I personally like one with a little bit more kick to it. I have a Nigerian inspired barbecue sauce that I really like. But for my friend here, I wanted to make sure that it wouldn't be too hot or anything like that. So I kept things kind of middle of the road today. So I've taken the fava bean tofu and I put a little bit of a crisp on it, just sauteed it in the pan. And now I'm just going to coat it in the barbecue sauce.
Wow, that looks amazing.
Or hopefully you'll like the way it tastes.
So the equivalent of this would be barbecue chicken? Or
Equivalent. That's a
American.
I would say this is the protein source for the dish.
Okay.
And so I don't like to equate things to dead animals. But you said it could be like, I guess, like a chicken nugget, or you said which one you said?
Barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken, yeah. Barbecue chicken nuggets. Yeah, you can, I guess you can equate it to that. I don't ever think of stuff like that. Like that. I'm just thinking about the nutrition profile. I never, even when I became vegan, I never had the intention of saying I want to swap this animal thing for this plant thing. I want to eat just food. Okay, so that's why I always say it's not vegan, it's food. I want the food to be flavorful, delicious, and nutritious. And it wasn't like, okay, I miss chicken tender, so now I'm gonna make a vegan version of it. I never do it like that. Just like let it be its own thing because it's not a chicken tender.
Gotcha.
It's just not.
Makes sense.
But when people are transitioning, that helps them. So there's no shame in that. I'm saying that's not what I personally do.
Smells amazing.
Awesome. I think it smells all right. I like the color, the dark color from the date syrup and the roasted garlic. It's 2 heads of roasted garlic in this. I love roasted garlic. So I'm just gonna let that marinate for a second. And while that is marinating, we have our braised cabbage going on over here. And we're gonna let that cook until it's nice and tender. Let's see how we're doing. Okay. Maybe turn that heat up a little bit. I like to cook on fire. I like to cook with fire. Induction is a little slow for me, but you know, with all things, good things, patience is involved and it's okay. So we're gonna let all this marinate for a moment and then we're gonna plate and eat and move to our herbal spotlight.
Nice.
Okay, so for our herbal spotlight today, it is one of my favorite herbs or favorite plant compounds from various plants. It's berberine. Berberine is nature's metformin. It's actually what metformin was formatted after. Most of our pharmaceuticals replicate something in the plant kingdom and they add something to it so that they can actually patent it and sell it to you because you cannot sell what God created. So you can't patent barberry, you can't patent golden seal because it was already on the earth. So they'll take that same compound, add something to it, put a patent on it, and now they can sell it back to you with side effects. So berberine itself is not a plant. It's a compound found within various plants around various continents. It's most commonly associated with barberries. It's also very commonly associated with golden seal. And when you see it, it's normally packaged in like this. When you get the berberine compound in the tablet, it'll have this golden color. The other delivery method for it is a liposomal method, meaning that it's coated in a fat and it'll be coated like this. So these have the 2 ways. So when you take any type of medication or pill, if sometimes water soluble or fat soluble, whatever it is, it's going to take 2 different routes in the body. And so it'll hit 2 different systems. And so that's why there's a benefit of taking a liposomal version and a regular version or a water-based version. And we can, if you have questions about that, leave it in the comment section below and I happily answer that. So that's not the scope of today's topic. But those are the 2 forms that you'll find berberine in most commonly. And it's something people take if they have diabetes. Now, a lot of people are prescribed metformin, and I was prescribed metformin early on, and it caused me massive digestive issues. I felt sick. It made my stomach hurt really, really bad. I had no energy. And then they're like, "Well, let's try you. Let's try you on berberine instead." And I didn't have any problems with it. Like, "Oh, that's a natural form." I'm like, "Why didn't you start me with that in the first place?" Why? And so my friend here, he's told me that he takes berberine every day.
Every day, twice a day.
What's your experience with berberine?
Well, I'm still in the stage of pre-diabetes, but thanks to being around you, I know that I'm gonna get to your level, get to a 5. But I'm stable. 4.9. I'm stable. I'm not. My situation is not getting worse, but I am getting up in age, so I'm looking to lose about 20 pounds.
Okay. Okay, I can still lose 20 more pounds too. So yes, the other thing about berberine, not only does it help lower your blood sugar levels and prevent you from spiking as much. So if you eat something that you know is going to spike, you're going to eat some ice cream. If you consume the berberine 30 minutes before you consume foods, it blunts any kind of spike that you have once you eat, especially if it's something that's on the naughty list. Okay, so consume it 30 minutes before a meal is going to have the time to blunt that effect. Otherwise, you can take it with food. Sometimes people who have very sensitive stomachs might initially have a little bit of gastrointestinal discomfort, a little bit, but it normally subsides very quickly. That just means you have a very complex issue that's going on with your gut and you need to get it fixed.
Gotcha.
The other thing about berberine that's so helpful, and we talk about this today too, it's an anti-inflammatory. It's a natural anti-inflammatory. So this is something you really want to keep in your pantry. If you're not sure if you have insulin resistance, and mind you, 80% of Americans are insulin resistant, just undiagnosed. So more likely than not, especially if you click to watch this video or to listen to this podcast, you most likely might have some level of insulin resistance. And berberine is a natural plant compound that can help with that naturally. So you can do and see the difference. You know, it'll help with balancing your hormones and whatnot. Um, yeah. So it can also help with weight management as well because you'll feel less cravings, less sugar attacks because it's going to help balance you out. So the thing about plant compounds that are so good, if you're too much of this, it'll bring it down. If you're not enough of this, it'll bring you up. It'll help bring everything into a balance. That's why this is so powerful. But work with your healthcare provider for this. If you're currently taking a blood sugar medication, this is contraindicated. They don't work together. Okay. If you want to switch to a natural version, consult your healthcare team. I am not a licensed doctor yet. So I am not giving you medical advice here. This is all for educational purposes only. Please consult your healthcare provider. What are your thoughts?
I totally agree with everything you just said. The only thing I would add to it is that if you learn how not to put the sugar in, you won't need a medication. And there is life without sugar.
Refined sugar.
Refined sugar.
Yeah, because there's sugar in all the food. So even in the cabbage. So when you eat a vegetable, vegetables are carbs. Okay,
Absolutely.
vegetables are sugars, but they're natural sugars, and so that's why when you see the cabbage that's braising, that's browning, that's called the Maillard reaction. It takes the sugars that are naturally occurring in the cabbage, and that's what's browning. It's the sugar that's in the vegetable.
Gotcha.
So again, it's not sugar, is not the devil. Refined sugar is the devil, but you want to make sure that you're focusing on fiber-rich foods that fill you up, that feed your healthy gut bacteria, so that you can live and thrive and not crave the things that you know that you don't want to eat at all, or at least not so often. Okay, well, I talked a little bit too long and slightly overcooked the sauce for the tofu. And the braising, we will braise it a little bit longer. And what I would also do with this braising liquid, I would add a little bit of the arrowroot powder and turn that into a gravy to pour over it. Or you can use the liquid itself. I mean, it's still flavorful because with the vegetable broth. And I added in a splash of vinegar at the end to brighten everything up. And also vinegar helps to also blunt your blood sugar. So it was also purposeful in that. With the braised cabbage as being a cruciferous vegetable, it's very rich in fiber. It's really good for your gut health, and it's going to also keep your blood sugar low. So this is a very low glycemic load meal. It is very good for anyone with diabetes or insulin resistance. And now we're going to have our meat eating taste tester to give us his opinion on today's dish. So go have at it, Abio.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I guess I should have got him a knife as well.
Amazing.
First time having fava bean tofu. What's that taste like for you?
I hate to say it.
Go ahead.
Tastes like chicken.
It tastes like chicken?
The texture of it.
The texture's like chicken. When you boil it, it has that kind of texture. And now he's trying the sorghum. It's cooked to al dente. That's the part's going to help you feel fuller for longer with this dish. So,
What does al dente mean? Those two
means toothsome or to the tooth in Italian. So it means that when you cook your pasta al dente, it means it's not mushy. It still has a chew to it. So some people like things cooked to al dente. Some people like it to be very, very soft. So you'll cook it to the desired texture you like. When I do this for food prep, I like to cook it to al dente, especially because it will hold its texture. It can be steeped in soups and sauces, and it's still going to have that same texture.
What's the other term you said?
Al dente.
There was the opposite of
Mushy.
mushy. Okay,
Soft.
I thought it was some special term.
Well, there might, if there is, I forget it at the moment, or I don't know it at all. But yeah, so I don't like it to be mushy per se, but I like to make it toothsome, as they say in the culinary world. So, what are your thoughts overall?
Very flavorful. I love the vinegar taste. Yeah, I love vinegar, so I can work with it.
You can eat this.
I can work with it.
That's saying something,
Yeah.
because his wife is an amazing cook. So it's very intimidating anytime I make something for
Oh, my
Abio,
goodness.
because his wife is, I mean, not only just meals but desserts as well. So he's a very spoiled man with his home in the kitchen. So if Betty said he could eat it, I would take that. I would take that for sure.
Yeah, amazing. My main thing when it comes to food, I just don't want to be hungry.
You're not gonna be hungry eating this.
Yeah.
There's so much fiber in this dish. I think it was actually 25 grams of fiber on this plate. This is a portion and a half. So this is 16 plus 8 for the protein. Get the 11 for the protein for the sorghum. You have the 2 from the cabbage. So it's very high in protein. It's very high in fiber. And you have some fat from the barbecue sauce and the fava beans, and a touch of fat from the sorghum. So, and you should be full when you eat this whole thing, and then you properly hydrate afterwards. You're not gonna be hungry.
Good job. I was
Meal
stuck in
prep
a routine. and I think you're gonna break me out of it.
Okay. And even with the sorghum, you can batch prep a bunch of it and freeze it, and that way all you do is just warm it up. And
How long does it normally take to cook?
so it's recommended when you prepare sorghum, because like I said, the ancient grains take longer. If you do it just on the stove top, it can take like 40-45 minutes to cook, but you put it in an instant pot, it's 20 minutes.
Okay.
You just pressure cook it, and it's the pressure cook version is in the Nurse by Naija book. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna end it with a rapid Q&A, and then we'll do our final closeout. Get our questions here. It's just so that the people can get to know you a little bit better, Abio.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So whatever comes to mind first, and these aren't trick questions, okay?
Okay, I'm about to.
You don't have to organize this. Yes. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Night owl. Really? Okay. Okay. Your favorite simple, healthy meal after a long shift?
Salad.
That's your favorite? What kind of salad?
Lettuce, tomatoes. I like green peppers, cucumbers,
Okay.
carrots.
Okay. What health myth do you wish would disappear forever?
Oh,
So many to choose from.
right. Diabetes, type 2 diabetes is not hereditary.
I hate hearing that. Yes, absolutely. Love that. Okay. One thing you do daily to keep yourself grounded.
Because of my job, I listen to other people. I have my own struggles, but when I go to work and I hear other people's struggles, I realize that I don't have it that bad.
That's beautiful. And then finish this sentence. Health by choice means.
Health by choice means taking control of your life.
That's what it means. That's awesome. All right. So if our listeners can make one change this week to protect their kidneys, blood sugar, what should that be?
One change: drink more water.
Mm.
And like we talked about before, get more rest, and maybe exercise or go for a long walk.
Especially after a meal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What gives you hope that the next generation will turn the tide on diabetes?
It's experiences like this where, people like you and myself, we're not tied to any big company, and we're not compromised by the information that we
Can't
share.
buy me.
Yeah.
Okay. You can sponsor me though. Can't buy me.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I very much enjoyed having you on today, Abio. I'm grateful for your presence. Thank you so much. And if you found value in today's episode, please be sure to give it a big like, subscribe, and send this and share it to someone who you think can use this information to help their lives. Until then, see you next time. Heal naturally, live vibrantly.